It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hated seeing the yellow there because I was kind of the first one that found the top, and then Kyle moved up right there, but he kind of missed it, and I had him, beat off the bottom when the yellow come out, and I knew if he wasn't going to go up there on his own, Keith was going to tell him to, and that was I knew I had to do something a little different, but we got going, and then they got to racing and gave me a hole there, and I didn't know he was going to go back to the bottom the one time and kind of bounced off of him, and then me and Kyle went to just sliding each other back and forth, and the way the racetrack was, you really couldn't go in and slide yourself and protect because then they just go back out there and get a big run and come back and do it the other end. So it was you're going to kind of have to slide them short and hope you made them check up for just a second to get going again. And I think I kind of accomplished that there when he backed in, and he knew he was going to have to throw a big one to get back across in front of me, and I guess it was a little too big.
Sammy, I guess when you're in that position, the last thing you want to do is to take out a team car, and for a while you were all bunched in there. How concerned were you about that?
Well, I mean, okay. Well, the guys told me, that I was okay on the bottom, so I stayed down there, and it was like I was probably a half a lap late moving up. I looked up on the dealer once, and I seen them kind of up there. I looked before they were on the bottom, so I looked again, they were on the top, and I didn't go up there in 1 and 2, and Kyle probably got a little bit of a run and caught me in a bad place, and it let Kevin slip through there, and then they got pretty aggressive. So I said, well, I'll just back up here a couple car lengths and just watch this. So, and then after that, I mean, it wound up being a little bit of a problem there. I mean, just wasn't enough room for me to get through. I knew Kyle was going to go for it, but, I figured our cars were going to be better later on. So I didn't want to get to pushing too hard too early. So, I just sat back there and just kind of watched it and just was trying to see what was going to develop. Then after that, I kind of started running through the middle and the bottom, and you could tell it was getting better, and I wound up rolling up on Kevin. I went there and said, man, he's going to see me. He kind of wasn't getting a good run off of 2, and I was way out of the throttle, but then I still rolled up there, and, he moved right down. So that was about it. Then the one deal, I just kind of let him go. I said, well, maybe he'll wear out his tire, think I'm still there. So let him go run hard for a bit, and I'll cool it off, and I could hold the guys off, slowing down quite a bit. And I figured we'd have another yellow, and it did. So, but it was going to be tough to pass at that point because there was really one lane.
Sammy, you mentioned the video screen. You've mentioned it in previous years, too. How much do you use that?
Well, you can use it quite a bit, when you're, not right on top of somebody or right around, or you're coming off there straight. You got the car pointed, and you're just waiting for it to get to the other end. You look up, and sometimes you have to wait till you go through the line, and then you see what's behind you. So, you can't do it every time, but there's a lot of times you can. And even on the yellows, I mean, sometimes the camera will pick up what's going on, or I'd see where the lap cars were, and but don't tell anybody else. We're the only ones that's going to know that.
So you're kind of relaxed in the car.
Well, I'm always relaxed. Sometimes if I get out, I'm not very relaxed. But yeah, that's the best way to be. Don't let anything bother you. You drive with passion, not emotion. That's what I tried to tell him. So you do that, you don't make mistakes.
Brad actually used the term being a fan there for a while. I mean, when you were watching that for you, I mean, those are tracksiders got their mouths open. Are you looking at that going, oh my God, that's really intense stuff up there for that lead? Or are you just thinking, I've got to be on my toes, not getting in the midst if it happens?
Yeah. Well, it was getting pretty aggressive there sometimes, and it's like it's not going to pay much to lead that lap. It's just the last one, so it's a big bonus to be there at the end. So I'm just I'll watch and see what happens. It's just I missed a half a lap going to the top, and I was a lap early showing him the bottom, so it went against me both ways. I mean, that's really the difference. The cars were close enough that they could have went the other way. I mean, the last 3 years it could have went the other way, at different times. But I mean, to come here and do what we've done is pretty remarkable. Just to get through this and be in the shape we're in, and and get through this the way we've done.
It's just their ATM. Just come here once a year.
Yeah.
Take out
Every year.
So if this was sports car racing, sometimes we use the phrase best in class. Did you feel best in class?
Oh yeah, I'm just running one of them little Porsche cars around there. They're in those other cars that pass them at Daytona, going about 100 miles an hour faster. So that's what it feels like at times. But we've gotten a little closer, I feel like. And tonight, we were able to get up and race a little bit with them. Once the track took rubber, and Sammy, I felt like found it first, and he kind of moved to the middle first and caught up to Kevin, and then it ended up just being right on the bottom. So you really couldn't do much at that point. But for the first 15 laps, we were able to keep up. We weren't able to really mix it up too much. Kyle seemed a little better, but other than that, we're gaining on it. But we're pretty happy with third right now.
Kevin, there's some pretty talented drivers in the back in lap driving because of the yellows. Did you have a lot of trouble back there?
I mean, it really probably wouldn't matter who was back there once it laid rubber, and they were still some of them were racing really hard there at the end, and then they about wrecked down the back straightaway coming to that first checkered and got me in a pickle of kind of I had a run, but you don't want to get out of the rubber, and it's just. And then I tried to whoa up for him, and I didn't whoa up enough, and got Jason's right rear there a little bit, and I saw a black car, and I just assumed it was him, and luckily it was Tony there, and then the yellow came out, and it didn't really matter at the end, but I thought I'd thrown it away there without even really meaning to, going about 6 miles an hour.
Sammy, there was a point when you caught Kevin in traffic, and then he made a move and got 4 cars in between you. At that point, you think you had something there?
Well, it was, you're always hoping you have an opportunity, and I was there, but, that happened a couple of times that some holes opened up. He went through them, and they closed up before I could get in there, so that's the way it goes. I can't get them out of the way, but I was hoping that, it was tough to spot him, that car length there at the end. We could have been a little bit closer, but I was hoping Tony would give me a bit more room, but it is what it is. I mean, it was a little tight for me getting into one. He stayed right there, and I had to slow up a little bit, and he didn't take off with Kevin, so there was 2 or 3 car lengths, and I think I got some of it back, but then it was like, well, I'm not going to make it. If I get there, that's all I'm going to do is just get there. So once we took the white, it was just bring it around and finish. That's all you can do.
Kevin, your right rear was down to the course. Were you trying to save it at all, or were you just going to go for it, hope it held up?
I mean, it's hard to judge, and I didn't really. I'd watch, and he'd be way back, and I'd try to kind of take a lap off, and then you push, and the one time, these cars, you can get them in a bad push and never really get them back if you get in the wrong spot, and I didn't ever want to miss it, and at the same time was trying to save it as much as I could without messing up, and it's a tough game to play, and he was. I figured he was saving it by looking and how far ahead I was, and there's really no reason to be that far ahead in that situation, unless he's just really conserving, and it's just hoping it makes it, and that thing got to probably 25 to go, got to bouncing, and that obviously says it's getting softer, which is, and just keep going and hoping it doesn't, and was figuring if it did, maybe I'd go out with a chant like he did at Knoxville the year it blew out, but it probably would have been the other kind of chant.
What about that original start? He beat you pretty good on that, and you got a second chance on it. Not so bad though.
Actually, the first one was better because I got in line and just got down. The second one, I got going too good, and then I was kind of forced to run the top of 1 and 2, and then I stayed with him, and then got down to 3 and 4, and it's like, well, I guess I'll do it again. And I knew it probably wasn't going to be better, but, if he got down there and got tight for a second or bicycled a little bit like I did that first time, that, you might have a shot. And then, obviously Kyle I knew he was going to be right in there, if I couldn't get down, and I kind of tried to chop him off without, getting into him or anything, and I got him as chopped as I could, but just, couldn't get down far enough, and, then it was just a matter of trying to tell myself to not get in a hurry to go back to the top, because I wasn't as good as probably they were around the bottom, and I knew I had to change something. I figure if I blew it off first and didn't lose any spots doing it, I might have a good shot at sneaking them.
about that last lap there, and then the caution come out. Your thoughts at that point?
I was just trying to ride, and I come off of 4 there, and the guy still had 2 up for the lap cars, and I'm like, throw the white, dude. You know, and it's just you never know how they're scoring it, and you know you're used to just going off the flags, and you assume the transponders will work, but you want the guy to go ahead and throw the flag, and you know he got it out there just in time, and was trying just to ride behind them, and you know it's hard, and like I said, you're trying not to get yourself tight and screw up, and at the same time you got to slow down to their pace, and those guys were still racing and half running over each other, and then. You know, they bounced off each other off of 2, and their first thoughts will just drive around them, but you can't drive around them because then you hang yourself out of the rubber, and then you're probably worse off. And I tried to just get in line behind Jason, and I think he'd just kind of given up, and he went in there real slow, and I couldn't even get stopped that much, and you know, hopped over his right rear for a second, and I thought I was done. And like I said, the first nose I saw was black, and it's like, well, there he goes, you know. And luckily it was Tony, and then the yellow come out, and then it goes back to the first 2 years I won this deal of having to deal with green, white checkers.
Yeah. Talk about your battle with Larson.
That was fun. You know, we've been friends a long time. We've raced a lot of sim racing and stuff and battled out, but I don't think we've ever really got to race, you know, real race that much and race like that. And, you know, we both have a lot of respect for each other, so I think it showed, and we were at least clearing each other in those. And I couldn't believe he drove back around me the one time. That actually impressed me. I kind of, you know, I wanted to give him a wow there, and that was kind of cool. But it was fun. I wish we could have raced like that the whole time, and I'd have enjoyed just ripping around the fence there for the whole race, and wish it wouldn't have laid rubber. But you know, that was I knew it was big, and when he backed across there, I was like, that might be a little too backwards, and then the yellow come out, and I assume that's what happened.
Sammy, I'll direct this to you, and even though it's a little bit about your son. As dominant as you have been at this event, really from the beginning, we had never had a guy win back-to-back races, and now he's put together 4. Just talk about how remarkable that is with all the variables that you deal with here.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm the guy that's been putting the cars together. So, but yeah, it's remarkable I mean, for us to do 2 cars that's been up there for the last really 5 years. I mean, if we didn't have a problem, you know, we got 5 wins in a row, and we've got, I don't know how many seconds, and maybe a third. So I mean, after that, it's I don't know, where's everybody else?
But even given your meticulous preparation and what you're known for, and going over and making improvements, there's still an incredible amount of luck that goes into this event. Just one spin in your heat race, etc.
Yep.
I mean, it's
well, there's
still
a lot,
sort of remarkable.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that. But I mean, you know, having good cars and cars that run all the time really helps. And you know, he's making the right decisions. I mean, if you know, like the year before, there was a couple of times I was there, and he moved right where I was. Just like tonight, he saw it, he took advantage of it, and was able to be in the right place at the right time. You know, but it's like tonight, I was kind of in the wrong place. But it's like when you're leading, and you just keep doing the same thing. It's like, well, I'm going to go run the top, and it's like, then you get blowed off. It's like, well, then I look like a fool, or people say, well, why'd you do that? Then they say, well, why did you stay on the bottom? It's like, well, you can't win when you're leading and the track changes, and it's just, you gotta, this place, it changes a lot, and you just gotta be in the right place at the right time, have a car that can maneuver and make the changes throughout that race. So I mean, we've had that covered pretty much, been able to do it and do it the right way, and we've just had whatever to get through without getting beat up very much at all.
Sammy, early on when you got out front, you seemed like you were just going to get out front, get the comfortable groove, and Kyle Larson down in 1 and 2 showed you a nose on the outside. It seemed like you stepped it up a little bit. Were you a little surprised to see him coming at that point?
Well, I actually didn't see him.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I couldn't. I didn't see him. But you know, a couple times I looked up, they were on the bottom, and then the one time I looked up, they were on the top, and that was when I probably stayed down there a half a lap too long. I should have moved right up going into 1, and I didn't, and it got pretty slick there at that point. So I tried to go up. I didn't get a good run off of 2, and then I was going there, and then he was right there on top of me. And it kind of got me in a bad place, but so it was just, well, I'll watch this for a bit and see what happens, and then I could see where the track was faster or slower based off what they were doing, and then after the next one I said, well, I can run through here, and it's going to be easy. So I rolled up on him there coming off of 2, and I was like, I'm not far enough to get ahead, but I'm probably, and I tried to slow down, but I didn't slow down enough.
Kevin, what's the rest of the year looking like for you?
Maybe somebody will call me to run a midget once in a while. I don't know. We're trying to get something back together to get in that Biaggi and Bestie car and nationwide stuff and run as many races as we can there, and then try to run as many races elsewhere as we can. Just pretty decent deal with Envy Racing, Michael Wade, to run that 360, and I'm sure we'll play with that at some point, and just fill in as much as I can. I'd love to run 120 races like Kyle does, but it's just I guess the opportunities aren't there. He's got all the rides filled.
Brad, how about your year?
It's pretty similar to last year. Try to run as many outlaw races as I can, all-star races, as many midget races as I can, and then try to do as many nationwide races as I can. Kind of the same boat as Kevin. Just trying to make the best of every opportunity I can get down there, and I have a few opportunities where I can run 10 to 15 nationwide races, and then just fill in the schedules and race as much as possible.